Hey everybody, I am back for another fun and exciting live stream. This question's a little more interesting. I never covered this topic. I've covered death and things like, religion and stuff like that on my channel, but I've never covered this specific topic on ghosts. Are ghosts real? Is a ghost just a figment of our imagination or not? Let's read the email question. Hi, Justin explains everything. I've had a lot of weird experiences in life with hearing odd sounds, voices, seeing things that are a little bit hard to see, but like what appear to be people, feeling things like somebody touching me, um, and very vivid dreams that felt really real, like somebody was trying to communicate somehow. Um, so, yeah, I think a lot of us have experienced stuff like that before, some more than others. I personally, in my 36 years of life, I haven't really had a whole lot of weird, creepy experiences with, I guess, what we would call a ghost. Um, I never really had a lot of that. I've had dreams that were really strange, like somebody was trying to communicate with me or touch me or whatever. Um, and I've had, when I was younger, some weird experiences where I thought I would hear something that really wasn't there, but never anything like you would see on like these ghost shows on television or like unsolved mysteries where a guy moves into a new house and suddenly he starts seeing people walking around, and making noise and knocking things over. I never experienced nothing even close to that. Um, I do know one thing from some of the research that I've done, which has not been a lot of research on the subject. I've kind of looked into it here and there, but like, let's see, like checking out, I'm trying to check out some different research polls and from different college universities that have done research on ghosts and scientists. And from everything that I've gathered and found, it sounds like obviously there is no conclusion. Nobody knows for sure whether a ghost exists, whether it's our imagination, or whether it could just be energy. Energy never dies. Energy travels forever. It doesn't cease to exist. Energy. Um, could what some of these people are seeing and hearing and feeling, could it be energy? You know, uh, Bottled up that's traveled around. Could it be uh, their imagination? Maybe they have an overactive imagination. Some people have a really good imagination, and they think they see something that's not really there, or hear something that they're not really hearing. Some people also have an overactive, not just so much imagination, but their senses are overactive. They hear a sound and they target right in on it. They zero in. They're like, "Oh, I heard something." Some people tend to not listen to things or pay much attention. People that tend to not pay close attention to things, probably like myself, is going to be less likely to hear a noise and think, "Oh, what is that? Is that a ghost? Is that an alien?" Um, we hear noises, different sounds all the time, every day. A car drives by, or somebody honks their horn, or you hear a tapping sound, and it could just be anything. It could be somebody across the street knocking something over, and you think that somebody's tapping on your door or something. Um, but from the research that I've looked up and tried to gather, it sounds like most scientists, um, I don't know if I want to say they've come to a conclusion, but one of their top theories is a lot of people that tend to claim that they see a ghost or they have heard something tend to have those types of people a lot of times, not always, but tend to have an overactive uh, sense and imagination. So, in other words, let's say, I'll give two examples, example A and example B. We'll take example A, the person with the overactive imagination. They could be lying in bed at night trying to sleep. Maybe somebody outside makes a noise, across the street. The sound travels just right. They hear it. They think it's coming from inside their home, maybe in their hallway or even inside their own bedroom. they might panic and think, oh man, you know, that's not right. You know, there's got to be something going on here. You know, what's that? I heard a noise. I know it's not a noise that I've heard before. They might investigate more and look more into it and think, hey, maybe it's ghosts or something. Um, then, example B, the person that doesn't have a very good imagination, not a very overactive imagination, they could be lying in bed, the same scenario, and hear a noise and they kind of hear it, but they don't really hear it because they don't care. They're not paying close enough attention to the noise or the sound or the visual. Maybe a light shines through their bedroom window. They don't care because they're just whatever. Um, so I found that really interesting. I think there's a lot of merit to that. People with an overactive imagination, um, I could see them potentially being more prone to saying, hey, I believe ghosts are 100% real. I've had this experience, I've had that experience, and they're going to believe it. Not saying that that's the case. I'm not saying that ghosts don't exist. They could exist. Spirits, ghosts, energy from maybe a loved one that passed away. Maybe their energy is carried on. Um, and it could still be affecting you some way in your life. Um, but then that would almost be a different topic because energy is not the same thing as just talking about a spirit. Yes, a spirit is energy. Yes, it is an entity and it has energy, but just energy in general doesn't necessarily mean that it's a ghost or a spirit. It could just be energy. That's it. Um, I don't really know if there's, like I said, I don't think there's any way to prove um, ghosts being real or not real. It's kind of one of those things where you really can't prove it, but you also can't disprove it. So you're always going to have that conundrum. You're always going to be kind of like right in the middle, like, is the ghost real? Is the ghost not real? You can't prove yes or no. You really can't prove yes or no. You might have personal strong feelings and beliefs about the subject, about ghost, about life after death and things like that. Um, but a ghost, that's something that you just it's one of those topics that you could talk about and talk about and talk about literally until the end of time, and I don't think anyone will ever truly know for sure. And also I want to remind people, if you don't believe in ghosts, that doesn't mean that you don't believe in an afterlife. That's totally separate. There can still be an afterlife. You can still go to heaven or whatever you believe in. um, but that doesn't necessarily mean that ghosts are real. That's all. I wanted to be clear with that because I know some people think, well, if you don't believe in ghosts, maybe you don't believe in, you know, life after death. No, that's not the case. Life after death is still very much possible. Um, and, having a different lifestyle and everything after your death could be real. That could be real. But that still doesn't mean that ghosts, going around haunting people, haunting houses, that doesn't mean that that's real. I just wanted to be clear with that. Um, but yeah, as far as the topic at hand of ghosts, um, like if I had to give my answer, like are they real? Is it just our imagination? Um, is it possible they exist? Do they exist? What are they? Why are they here? Those types of questions. Um, I don't really think I could give a straightforward answer on that. Usually, in most of my streams, I try to at least give my opinion or an answer to the question. Um, but as far as this question, you know, I would almost say I'm right down the middle, like close to 50-50. 50% no, 50% yes, as far as whether ghosts are real and whether they exist. Um, but at the same time, I can understand scientists in the research that they've done. Um, Overactive imagination does seem to be the more, I guess, plausible outcome or answer to the question about whether ghosts are real. If you have an overactive imagination, that's something that actually can be proven. They can do studies on a person, figure out, man, do they see things all the time or hear things all the time or dream about things that an ordinary person wouldn't dream about or see or hear. Um, I think an overactive imagination is probably more plausible, makes more sense because, like I said, that's something that actually can be proven. You know, some children have a really overactive imagination, and even adults. Um, but to prove whether a ghost is real or not, that's almost impossible to prove. Unlike an overactive imagination. Um, so yeah, it's a fun topic. I mean, I've discussed this for years and years and years with friends, my brother, you know, other family members. It's a fun topic. Um, I got a real quick, short story to tell. Speaking of ghosts, when I was a kid, we used to live with my. We were staying at my grandfather's house growing up, and that house that he had, it was in Columbus, Ohio. Just an ordinary little house. I mean, it was a ranch style, one floor, couple bedrooms, but it had a basement. In the basement, oh man, every single one of us, including myself, any friends that would come over, and family members that would go down in that basement would have so many weird, creepy vibes and feelings. Like every time I went downstairs to the basement, it always felt like somebody was watching what I was doing. I never saw anything, and to my knowledge, I don't recall ever hearing anything. But I always had these weird feelings that there was somebody watching, and there was somebody there, even though odds are nobody was there. There was probably no ghost, nothing. But it just felt really weird. And it wasn't just like one or two people that had that experience in that house. It was several people would come over, friends, like I said, family members. They'd go down in the basement, and every time they would go down there, they would immediately feel like there was eyes on them, watching them from somewhere in the basement. Now, could that be an imagination? Could it be that maybe the basement had just a certain kind of look that gave a bad vibe? I don't really know. I mean, your brain is like really amazing what your brain takes in and interprets. I don't really know. But I do remember that's probably the most clear, vivid story I have of experiencing like a ghost. But again, I never saw anything or heard anything. I just always had that feeling that there was somebody down there with me in the basement watching what I was doing. Um, it used to creep me out a lot. It really did used to creep me out. But that's probably the only real strong, like dark ghost story that I actually really have. Aside from that, I've got other stories that were just stupid stories. Like maybe I would hear someone say my name, Justin, and I would think that, oh, there's somebody here, and there really wasn't. But those could just be mishearing things, maybe a little bit of imagination. Those weren't like really scary stories or strong stories with much meaning to them. But the basement story at my old grandfather's house, that was a very, very scary feeling, having that going down in the basement. So I think that's going to do it for this stream. I never really, I know I didn't really give like a full answer, like, a yes or no answer, but, on whether I think ghosts are real or whether it's just our imagination. But I would say it's 50-50. Probably more likely that it could just be in our head, possibly, but I would lean a little bit more towards overactive imagination, heightened senses. Some of us, our senses are just higher. We hear every little sound, we see every little movement. So I don't know. Fun topic, though. I might do a part 2 on this eventually in the future. I don't have enough research to like really give a solid opinion, but I just thought this would be a fun little short stream, fun video on ghosts being real or just our imagination, or the third option, possibly energy. I might do a video on that talking about just energy. It's possible that the energy, because they say every single one of us, we all have energy, and energy can never be destroyed. Maybe it's possible that when we claim to see a ghost or hear something. Maybe it's the energy um, coming from the person that used to be alive. I don't really know. So, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. This has been a fun stream. Thanks for the support. I appreciate the subscriptions, the likes, the comments. It's all great for the channel and the algorithm. Um, much appreciated from you guys. I really appreciate it. Um, Again, I like doing this for fun. It's for free. I don't, ask for money, donations, nothing like that. Um, so yeah, guys, you guys have a great rest of your end of your weekend. It's Sunday morning, um, end of the month already, and stay safe out there, and enjoy yourself. Peace out, guys. I'll see you on the next stream.